This week, tune into the Paul Feinbaum Show as I discuss
the delicious taste of ice cold Dr. Pepper.
Larry Culpepper? Hey, I'm in the middle of a promo.
Sorry, Finey. The fans are craving so much Dr. Pepper, I thought I'd borrow some of your airtime.
Security!
Hey, look, whether you're watching college football or calling into some guy's radio show, Dr. Pepper makes college football that much sweeter. So grab some at your local store today.
Can I have one of yours?
Hey, we got a caller. You're on the Larry Culpepper Show with your host, Larry Culpepper.
That's it.
That's Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm still David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN 2 and ESPN Radio. What do we do, Mr.
We get
Rose?
the people what they want.
For NBA fans and especially Boston Celtics fans, I have very good news.
Are you a die easy Celtics fan these days?
Yes. After defeating the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday nights, the Celtics have won 13 straight games. Yay. The bad news. The streak is ending Thursday night when the Warriors come to town. It's over. We all know this. We're taping this way before the game on Thursday night.
It's over now.
But we all know the streak is over. Congratulations on the 13 games.
You treated me so bad.
And before this streak comes to a close, which it will on Thursday night, we just want to celebrate it a little bit. This is your time, Boston Celtics fans. This streak has been great. It's about to come to a close, so let's celebrate it. Jalen, what has been the key to the Boston Celtics' early success without Gordon Hayward?
So here's how I want to frame it. Of course, you need great players to win championships. All-time great players, Hall of Fame level players to win multiple championships.
Sure.
So when you look at the Bulls, when they had Mike and Scotty and Phil, when you look at the Spurs with their big three, when you look at the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, those have been the constants in the dynasties. Okay. But if you've noticed, they've made a lot of changes to the roster in between that period of time. That's what the Celtics have been able to do. Whatever we are saying about Kyrie Irving right now and the success of the Boston Celtics, guess what? You said it about Isaiah Thomas last year.
Ooh, good point.
The Celtics, from the top down, you start with the ownership, and then with Danny Ainge, who did really good chess moves, and their terrific head coach in Brad Stevens.
Running away with Coach of the Year so far.
Continues to mold talent, develop them, and create a system to where multiple guys score double figures, multiple guys compete defensively, and they've had a big-time turnover on their roster.
Let's take a look at that roster and that turnover that you talked about. Look at the starting five from last year and the starting five from this year.
And when you make sweeping changes like this,
4 of the 5.
4 of their 5 starters are gone. They only return, I think, 4 players to the entire roster that were on a team that, what did the Celtics do last year? Oh, they were the number 1 seed in the East.
Yep.
What are they now? Oh, they're still the number 1 seed. So how does that happen? Exactly what I said. When you institute a system that allows the players to function to their optimum ability, but yet when Kyrie Irving is out with a fractured face, when Gordon Hayward is down with a horrific injury,
still winning,
when Al Horford is out, when Marcus Morris, who just had 20 and 12, is out,
still winning.
You still find a way to get it done.
So you mentioned Al Horford, and you notice from that graphic that he is the only starter that is returning to the team, and he has low-key been the key to the Celtics' early success. He's only scoring like 15 points a game, but he's shooting 49% from 3, and one thing he is bringing to this team that they focus on is defense. He's blocking shots, as you saw right there in the Greek Freak. He's hitting threes. Al Horford has been the rock, the veteran, the defensive and offensive sort of like leader of this team, not with the ball, but as a person. How does that veteran presence help this young team?
Well, it helps tremendously because here's what ends up happening in sports. There's such thing as splash plays or loud plays. So like when Dennis Smith as a rookie drives to the basket around Paul Gasol and does a two-hand dunk, that's a loud 2 points.
Blake Griffin comes to mind.
No question. And so the Boston Celtics have multiple players who are not that.
To get quiet points.
And Al Horford comes to mind when you think about the better bigs in the game. Anthony Davis, Boogie Cousins, Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid. I can name so many players before I say Al Horford.
Yes.
And nobody would argue with me about it.
Nobody would.
But he's actually become the prototypical big man because he used to play 4. Now he has the ability to play 5. You said he shoots the 3, he plays defense, and he's a veteran. And he understands his role. He's a professional. He can help bring young players along. And he doesn't matter who gets the spotlight, which is really important at this point of his career.
You mentioned earlier this system that they have and the way that they integrate new players. And one thing about this system is I think this system has turned Kyrie Irving into a great defender. Last year, he was 69th amongst point guards. 69th amongst point guards. I believe there's about 70 or 80 in the entire league. This year, he is 14th in defensive rating. So, Jalen, is Kyrie trying harder? Is he better on defense now? Or is this a systematic thing?
Pull up some tape of me playing in Indiana. Oh, man, I could play defense.
Really?
Yes. You know why? Because it was a team thing, and you have to give more effort because everybody's holding each other accountable. Now, you pull up the effort I gave in Toronto.
I don't
Couldn't
remember
play
effort.
defense.
I don't remember effort. Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is when you don't play, you think that, oh, you could just get in front of a player and stop them. No, you can't. I've had Michael Jordan standing in front of me. I had Scottie Pippen standing in front of me. Buckets. But all of a sudden, they know where their help is. They force you baseline. Here come Rodman. They're right there. And so there are individuals that can lock you down for a possession or a couple of possessions or for a couple of dribbles. But great offense is going to always be good defense. And so the Celtics have a defensive system of where they're going to force the pick and roll, where they're going to force the dribble drive. They don't differentiate from that. Ooh. So everybody knows where they're going to be and everybody's accountable. And when you play on a good team and you make a mistake, what ends up happening? My bad.
Not pointing the finger, smacking the chest.
But when you play on a poor team, it's an argument.
Of course.
Pull back up some of the Cavs footage. Multiple times him and LeBron going to the timeout like, what's going on?
Yep.
LeBron and Tristan, like, what's going on?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned LeBron because Howard Beck just did a feature on the King LeBron James and the Cavs, and LeBron offered this interesting quote. Quote, I look forward to when IT returns, whenever that happens, to give me a break here and there where I know he can run the offense and control a quarter or two, or a game if need be. It's been a while since I've had that clear-cut guy who can get guys involved but also score at the same time. Jalen Rose, sounds like a veiled shot at Kyrie Irving. Is that what it is?
It's not veiled, it was. Kyrie's role with the Cavs was vastly different. When I say a system, when you watch the Boston Celtics play, it isn't one guy pounding the ball playing isolation. They don't play like that. That is how the Cavs play. So he was, along with LeBron James, one of the best isolation players in the game. They were one of the best isolation teams in the league. And when they met the Golden State Warriors in the finals, it was a contrast to two styles. One team that moved the ball, one team that played isolation. And so I understand where he's coming from because that's what Kyrie was asked to do. But I do know this. I was in the building, right wing, being guarded by Steph Curry, Game 7. They gave the ball to Kyrie.
Right now, we're going to our 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed. We asked you, we're going to start working our Twitter feed better. Everyone listening, especially our co-producers. We're going to ask some specific questions, not just general questions. We answered those earlier. Right now, we have specific questions about relationships. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
James wants to know, is it okay to have a joint bank account with your partner?
James, thank you for the shout. We appreciate the support. It's absolutely 100% okay.
Let me just say there's levels to it, though. There's levels.
It is levels to it.
There's levels.
Like no question about it.
There's certain
there's
benchmarks
levels to
in the
everything.
Yes, there's certain benchmarks in the relationship. It has to be. You have to be pretty far along the relationship path before you start getting a joint bank account.
And once that takes place, there's always going to be a time where each individual wants their own little slush fund to put their
I call it play money
in their pocket, which is rightfully so.
Walk around account.
A lot of things come to the forefront about unhappy or unhealthy relationships. One of the main things that gets overlooked is finance.
It's true. It's a big part of your life. It's a big part of your relationship.
And so if that piece of it is in order and you have an understanding of what the expectation is of each person based on what you're making and what you're spending, absolutely.
Once upon a time, my wife and I lived together, you know what I mean, before we were married. Just a quick personal story. And then it was, I made more, so I paid more. We split it down, not down the middle, but I made a little bit more, so I paid a little bit more. However, she started making more than me, and we stayed at 50-50. You know how that goes. I remember I brought it up one time. I was like, remember when I made more than you? And I used to pay more. I was like, you make more than me now, so what's up with you paying more? She looked at me and was just like, next question.
Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, she was like, next question. Shout out to my wife. You know what? You should never, ever, you should encourage your wife to make more than you. Thank you so much for the question, James. Next question we have is from Game Infested.
Shout out.
Is it a soft move or a boss move to call your lady wifey even though you're not legally married?
It's 100% a boss move. I do it every day.
There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone's got their own little thing.
There's levels to it. And that's pretty much where the term comes from. For me, Meth said it best. Sometimes you don't need a ring to be my wife.
Meth always said it best.
I've been listening to that woo.
I'm telling you. Were we
I've
wrong
been bumping
about
it all day.
If you are listening to this and you have not listened to the new Woo yet, let me tell you, you will not be able to tell the difference between the new Woo and the old Woo. It's a Wu-Tang album. Like, they have tried different things. RZA was in the Grave Diggers, and, you know, Method Man and Redman did their thing. They've all gone down a little past, but it's come full circle, and they're now back to being the Wu-Tang Clan.
And it's not like the Woo, then there's Red and Meth. Redman is on multiple songs also.
I think he even got a Wu-Tang tattoo. He's part of the Wu-Tang.
No question.
Yeah, he is. And so this next question is from Allie. Has Jacoby used...
We didn't answer the last question.
Well, all right, you got sidetracked. What was the question then? Do you call... Oh, wifey. Yeah, it's boss move.
Boss move, no doubt about it.
We answered that. Yeah. Allie, I appreciate you keeping tabs, though. Got to answer the questions. People, got to give the people what they want. Has Jacoby used Jalen's regular tonic yet? And when was the last time Jalen has used it? Jalen, I don't know if you know this. You actually don't know this because you don't come to the production meetings. We have got the ingredients. Tomorrow on the show, you will not only show me how to mix it, what the proper, you know what I mean, ingredient, what the proper ratio are of each ingredient. I will be drinking what I call Jalen juice tomorrow on the radio and on television on Jalen and Jacoby.
And really, the best way to actually do it, and we have hot water here clearly, is hot water, real ginger. Get some real ginger.
Oh, I forgot about the
peel
ginger.
it.
Alex, if you're listening, we need ginger.
You see, that's why I said that first. Cayenne, honey.
Honey? I thought it was lemon juice in there.
And a little lemon.
Apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, ginger, lemon juice.
Trying to tell you. And by the way, for those people out there that drink a lot of tea, I just gave you tea without a tea bag.
Next question is from Anthony. Is being a good guy unattractive to women? Seem like they want dudes who are trouble.
So here's what I learned. And I say this respectfully to men and to women. I think the saying goes like, don't treat someone like everything that only treats you like an option.
Okay.
And so what usually happens in every relationship is at one point, one individual likes the other one more. That happens in friendships also. You got that homeboy, that homegirl, you like, man, they're high maintenance, but I love them. They always asking me for something, my time, my energy. They want advice, they want counseling, but those are my peeps. And then you find that happy balance of what makes each other tick. And so once you iron that part out and you start seeing eye to eye, then there's a level of respect that you gain that has, as I mentioned earlier, nothing to do with title.
That's a great point. And also I would say to Anthony, you can't make generalizations about this. Yes, there are women that do seem to look for sort of more edgy, troublesome men. And there's the opposite too, you know? And I would say that over the long term, though, if you're looking for a long-term thing, you know which way you want to go. Next question we have is, this is also from Allie. Allie has a great question. Soft move for boss move. Sleeping on opposite sides of the bed with your significant other because he has horrible breath. Allie she's got a breath problem with her man.
That's a soft move.
Oh, I like this.
Allie, I got love for you. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And just like you come to your man each day and you like, man, his breath stink. Your feet probably stink. He just don't say anything.
But another thing is this, is I always say this is another like sort of Jacobyism is people can only control what they can control. So, Allie, what you should do is work with your significant other. Make sure that they're using breath rinse, mouth rinse. Make sure that they're using toothpaste and everything they can do. But if they're doing everything they can, their breath still stinks. What are you gonna do?
But also, first off, I appreciate you for still being with him. Not saying this is the one thing I don't like.
That's not a deal breaker. Yeah.
Because what ends up happening, it's the 90-10 theory. It's you really like 90% of somebody, but you find yourself complaining about the 10% that they're not.
Of course.
And then you feel like you're going to go find somebody else.
Of course.
And then all you get in is that 10% and you just lost 90.
My wife does everything for me. Like literally everything. Every single thing. But I still complain about the littlest, smallest things. You know what I mean? And
so what a teammate does, since we're a sports show, and what a mate does, make them better. Say, babe, here's some good toothpaste you got to try. Mm-hmm. Here's some good Listerine and mouthwash you got to try.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it too.
Make them better.
You got to ease it in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Make them better.
Can't be drill sergeant with it. Jalen Rose.
What up, Dell?
You never went to a nightclub before an NBA basketball game, right? Like the night before? You would never do that,
I wouldn't do
right?
such a thing.
You would never do that, right?
Go to a city and then go to the club the night before a game?
Yeah, night before a game, you got to rest up. You got to get rest, got to watch film, right?
I almost told on myself. At first, I thought you meant on the day of the game. I was like, did I ever do that before? Did I ever have a day party before a game?
Was there a day?
No, even I didn't do that one.
Did I ever hit the lunch buffet at the spot before a game?
No, that's unprofessional.
Well, nowadays, the TMZ cameras are always there for you, especially when you come to Los Angeles. I think a lot of basketball players come to Los Angeles and they want to see what it's like out in the LA Nights. They want to hit the Sunset Strip. They want to see Hollywood. They want to go to Ace of Diamonds or whatever it is. Ben Simmons went out Tuesday night, out late, till 2 in the morning. TMZ cameras catch him, and now he faces Lonzo Ball and the Lakers on Wednesday. Something or nothing?
Nothing.
Really?
Because here's what I learned. Just because you're not at the club, that doesn't mean you're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
The players for the hometown team are probably doing whatever makes them happy and entertaining and having fun and enjoying life. They're just not out in public because they're the hometown team.
Let me go this way as the media guy, though. Perception is reality. And when you're Ben Simmons, you're hot right now. And when you're hot, the TMZ cameras are looking for you. And when you go out and you know that and you're hot, and TMZ gets you, they put a post up of you, what you do is you put out this perception that you were partying late before a game. And and if you do not perform well, people will attribute that to you partying before the game.
If Allen Iverson had to go to bed at 10 at night, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Explain.
Dennis Rodman, the same thing. Some people, body clocks are just different, and they're able to juggle their personal life and the things that they enjoy late at night in most cases, and still are able to perform. And then there are the other people that just can't, and they know it, and sometimes they still do it. It's no different for those that go out on work nights. Some people know, man, if I go out tonight, I'm gonna be nothing at the job tomorrow. And some people are like, no big deal. I got this.
So later on tonight, you got Ball versus Simmons. That's on ESPN, right?
Yes, indeed.
NBA Countdown. At halftime, if Ben Simmons is over 8 from the field,
you know I'll bring it up.
4 turnovers, you know you're going to bring it up.
Of course.
So at the same time, like that's kind of what I mean as the media guy. Like, don't give people like Jalen Rose the ammunition to say things like he was out last night and looks like he's over 8 because he was out last night.
It's a flip side to that, too.
What's that?
And I just gave you a couple of examples. Say he come out and he's all-time dominant.
I like it. Then that's superstition. Got to go out the night
before.
Then
it's urban legend now.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're Joe Namath
like
all
he
of a
must
sudden.
have went to bed too early last night.
Yeah, then you're Babe Ruth all of a sudden.
And then people are like, what happened to his jumper? Like, not realizing he never had one.
This was something that, it was just like a little headline, but it was something that I know that you can take us behind the curtain on and offer some good insight. Jaylen Brown, who is celebrated as this sort of like thinking man's NBA player.
I thought you were going to say celebrated as being a Jalen.
Nah, because they didn't want to associate themselves with you. They put the Y in there.
Got it.
You know, they're
Still
like,
counts.
They're like, I love the name Jalen, but like let's try to disassociate yourself from that Rose guy.
That's cultural. How many names you know that got awkward spellings?
Lots of them.
Okay.
Dwayne Wade.
There you go. Good example.
Yeah, the autocorrect will not let me spell Dwayne Wade's name. Autocorrect is just like, come on. That's not how you spell it. I'm like, look, his mom didn't have autocorrect on the birth certificate.
How many LeBrons are out there before
Can I say
Mr.
one
James?
thing about names real quick? I was thinking about this. Who's LeBron always compared to? Right? Like, that's the thing. That's what happens. I know you watch First Take every day. That's what they do. That's kind of like the low-hanging fruit of NBA conversations. Who's better, Jordan or LeBron? There'll always be some sort of article or some stat or something that will bring that back up. I was thinking about those names, and Michael is such a boring name. LeBron, there is no other LeBrons. It kind of gives him a mystique. It gives him like a branding. It gives him an extra little something. Not comparing him to Mike, but like it's unique that this superstar basketball player has a name that has never been done before, much like my co-host Jalen Rose.
Absolutely. But I'm not going to speak for LeBron because he's highly intelligent. Jalen Brown seems smarter than me already.
Yeah, I think that's already over. That's not even that competition. No one even brought that up. So Jalen Brown said this: 80% of people think they can beat an NBA player one-on-one. What? I mean, I think he might be. I mean, he's just playing around with the numbers a little bit. But in your experience, do you get those like thirsty Division III college basketball players that see you at the gym that want to go one-on-one?
I'll take it a step further. The people that never played at all, like high school or college, that feel like, oh, he's not Michael Jordan, so I can take him.
Exactly.
That whole ideology. That's why we got to retire certain words on this program. That really rebuffs that line of thinking.
So, Jalen Brown mentioned Jared Dudley by name. Of people that, you know, like an NBA player that people think they could beat one-on-one. If I'm Jared Dudley, I'm just like, when you get tipped up, don't mention my name. Like, come on, Jalen Brown, you want to play one-on-one right now? I'm Jared Dudley. I'll back you down.
Here's why I use him as an example. And by the way, I got love for Jared Dudley. Has a son named Jalen. Can't make this stuff up.
I love Jared Dudley.
How about this? So, when you look at him, though, just like Zebo, kind of built like a Michelin man, doesn't look like he's
getting a little stretch mark 40.
As you think a quote-unquote athlete is.
Stretch mark 3.
And then all of a sudden you get him open for 3 and he knocking them down, getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball.
Millions and millions and millions. If Jared Dudley couldn't be in the league, Jared Dudley would be out of the league by now. But he always gets picked up and he always gets minutes. Shout out to Jared Dudley.
We got to bring him on the show.
He's going to be in the media.
Shout out.
He's going to be in the media. You know he's been working that for a long time. I remember him and the Podfather used to hang out. He's been working that angle. Jalen, Blake Shelton was named the sexiest man alive.
What? How do you get nominated?
What? You want to be up for this, don't you? I can see. I know you well enough by now.
I got 12 months to get it together. What are the criteria?
I know you well enough by now.
What's the criteria?
You have to be white. Yep. No,
okay.
I'm just playing.
98% of them are.
Denzel's been in there.
Who else?
They've had some diversity. I don't know the history of the People magazine Sexiest Man Alive.
It's only been 1 or 2 black people. You
I know,
and I both
we
know
had
it.
to look this up because we do this every year.
That was a great joke.
But I like Blake Shelton as a pick because I feel like he represents for the dads out there, the gray-haired, dad-bodied dudes out there. We can still be sexy. Are you as upset as the rest of the internet that Blake Shelton is the sexiest man alive?
No. I learned not to criticize, judge, or critique another man or woman based on their status, their looks, their background, their religion, their creed. That level of responsibility and respect and maturity, it really lifted an emotional burden off of my life because I was a lot like a lot of people out there too. Like I used to basically walk around with my fist balled up too and my face frowned up thinking if something happened for somebody else that they probably was taking food out of my mouth. And then I realized there's plenty out here for everybody to eat.
Yep.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Jalen Rose, it's time for soft move or boss move. The Spurs' Kyle Anderson.
Go Spurs, go!
Gets this rebound. And then the Mavs, Majiri reaches for it, and Anderson makes the most of the flopportunity.
You had to go there, huh?
He made the most of that flopportunity, and then after the game, he tweeted and then deleted this. Quote, "The difference between flopping and selling it. Dude reached across my body and got my arm. Did what my dad taught me as a kid when that happens to try to sell the foul. Flopping is when you don't get touched and you add the theatrics. Jalen Rose, not owning up to the fact that you flopped when you flopped. Soft move or boss move?
Slow motion. That's my guy since UCLA. Soft move.
Yeah. Ooh.
And the last word should have been the first word. Theatrics.
You flopped.
The way he fell, he almost tore up his knee. When you look back at that video, that's what I thought was about to happen. Like, did he hurt himself?
Yeah, what are we watching here?
You still got the call.
You flopped.
So you didn't have to fall.
If you're a flopper, does it have flopped?
And you can sell the call.
There's nothing wrong with flopping.
Without falling down.
Do you know what the softest of move, though, is? I didn't play in the NBA, Jalen, so there weren't refs there. I play pickup. I hate it when players in call-your-own-foul games still kind of flop. Like, you call your own foul. Who are you flopping for? Yep. Another story for another time. Moving on, story for right now. A gentleman by the name of Robbie Calland, I hope I'm saying his name right. He's a writer for Uprock Sports.
Shout out.
He wanted to up Kobe, right? Kobe scored 81 on you and around you and on your team. So he went to the all-you-can-eat Chick-fil-A Nugget Night, which is $12.99, and tried to beat Kobe. He wanted to eat 82 nuggets. Jalen Rose started off good, slowed down, had some trouble, eventually got through 82 nuggets. Soft move or boss move, eating 82 nuggets to one-up Kobe Bryant.
Setting a goal and accomplishing it, boss move.
I like it, boss move. You know what? I ran the marathon. He ate 82 nuggets. We all push our bodies in different ways. You know?
I would like to know if he used sauce. If so, which one?
You got to use sauce.
The honey mustard is bomb.
You got to use sauce. Can I say something into a microphone that I probably shouldn't? Only had Chick-fil-A like 3 times.
You missing out.
Just only had it like 3 times.
Did I say something to a microphone?
What's that?
Never had Arby's.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No one's had Hardee's.
No one's ever eaten at Arby's. No one's ever eaten at Arby's. Jalen, this is very important.
Have you ever had Papa John's?
No. I mean, like a couple times. Not intentionally. Never ordered Papa John's to my house. The Toronto Raptors went down to Houston.
T-Dot.
To play the to play the Rockets. Guess what? They beat the Rockets. The Red Hot Rockets, James Harden. They beat them. They went down there. After the game, they got little Twitter fingers, and they posted this photo of James Harden without the beard saying, ball game, Raps win, hashtag we the North. Soft move or boss move, pulling up old photos to troll your opponent.
I want to quote the great American philosopher David Jacoby, who says, you can be mean if
you're funny.
That's funny.
I thought it was a little mean.
And funny.
I didn't think it was that funny.
I did.
I did laugh the first time I saw it, though.
Because it was him. It wasn't doctored. It was him.
We got one of you also that is not doctored. Let's take a look at an old photo of Jalen Rose. You wearing a backwards Javon Curse jersey and a Reebok hoodie and a big old diamond earring. What is happening in that photo shoot?
First off, I had 2 big diamond earrings.
Couldn't see the other one.
The chain I had on. That superstar, I might have to bring that back out. I still got that kit.
You still have that chain?
No question.
You still have the Javon Curse jersey?
All of my eyes.
Have you ever worn the Javon Curse jersey forward?
I have it. Javon Curse was the freak.
Shout out.
Jalen Rose, Space Jam is 21 years old. I never loved Space Jam. It wasn't really that big of a movie in my life, but like people seem to love it. I understand why. I get it. It involved Michael Jordan. People love Michael Jordan. This is the interesting part. The director is claiming that he is the reason that Dennis Rodman was added to the Chicago Bulls. Here is a quote from the director. Quote, I said, why haven't you guys gone after Dennis Rodman? Because Michael was going back to the Bulls later that year. He said something about how he didn't know whether he could play with Dennis. I said, look, the guy doesn't shoot. He plays defense. He rebounds. He doesn't get in your way. You should go after him. That night, Dennis Rodman was at this Beverly Hills hotel with Michael, and they made the deal that Monday. Soft move or boss move, the director of Space Jam taking credit for Rodman to the Bulls.
Boss move.
Ooh, I like it.
Because Jacoby always says in everyone's production, they are...
And everyone is a hero in their own movie.
Correct.
Everyone's world revolves around them.
And so whether he had 1% of influence on Michael Jordan, even if he had 0%, even though he said it to him.
Feels like 100 to him.
No question about it. He's no different than us predicting things that are going to happen when they take place.
He's the hero. Everyone's a hero in their own movie. Just remember that. Because when you're talking to somebody and you disagree with them or they see something different than you do, you have to put yourself in their shoes. And when you do so, say, I am the hero in the movie.
There's a reason why the late, great Jerry Krause also has his name name hanging in the rafters in Chicago. He did that.
He did the deal. Next, Steven Tyler was on TMZ Sports, and they asked him about Ric Flair and the 30 for 30, and Ric Flair claiming that he slept with 10,000 women. And Steven Tyler he's saying that it's impossible that he'd never do so. Soft move or boss move, getting involved in Ric Flair's sex numbers.
We did it for Wilt, but in this case, I'm going to say it's a soft move.
It is. Just let him live his legend. Like we just said, let Ric Flair be the hero in his movie. And in his movie, the script says he slept with 10,000 women. So there you go. Whatever you want to believe, Ric Flair. That's
We're not
fine.
here to dispute it.
Exactly. You know what? If people want to claim crazy things that aren't true, I just let them live that delusion.
And also, I just have to say this on a Women's Crush Wednesday. That's not flattering.
Nah, it's not. It doesn't make you attractive. No woman once says, I want to be number 10,001. That's not how it works. Ric Flair.
Woo!
So, this isn't the New York City mayor. It's the New York City mayor's spokesperson, like the PR person for the mayor. They were asked, here's what he did. They asked him why he felt it necessary to publicly declare the unexpected endorsement. And he said this. He said, I like Chicago-style pizza. NYC has a lot of great pizza, but I prefer Chicago style. I don't think anyone cares what type of pizza the mayor's press secretary likes. I think they care more about someone not being a phony, especially about pizza. Soft move or boss move, being honest about your pizza preferences, even though you might lose your audience.
You won't lose your audience for that, or then it never was really down anyway. Come on now. Seriously?
I think it's a boss move to be honest about what you prefer. It's a soft move to like Chicago-style pizza more than New York style.
It's a soft move to say you like something that you don't, just so people will like you. That's phony.
I like that. I think that's interesting. If you had to pick between Chicago-style and New York style, what would you pick?
Chicago-style, because my favorite pizza, as you know, is Pizzapopolis. Mm-hmm. And it's seafood, and it basically comes in a deep dish variety.
I liked it. It was better than I expected it to be. But I'll take a New York-style pepperoni 100 times out of 100 on that. And don't forget, everybody.
Funny you say that. We had pizza for dinner last night.
If you've learned anything from this program, it should be this. Order your pizza well done with extra sauce. You don't have to do extra sauce. I prefer extra sauce, but your pizza's going to be better well done.
Can you give them a snapshot of how you know all of these intimate details?
I'm a professional pizza maker. I spent 2 years of my life. 2 years of my life at Bell's Pizza in Amherst, Massachusetts. R.I.P. Shame what happened at Bell's Pizza. But, man, I learned a lot in that hot kitchen from the late, great John Bell.
Shout out.
Jalen, I know this always makes you nervous. Time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
After being detained by Chinese police, held, charged with shoplifting, the UCLA trio of shoplifters and basketball players has returned to the United States of America. Before they addressed the media, President Trump, as he does, tweeted about the incident. He tweeted, "Do you think the 3 UCLA basketball players will say thank you, President Trump?" They were headed for 10 years in jail. What? Jalen Rose, guess what? The players thanked President Trump. Let's listen.
To President Trump and the United States government, thank you for taking the time to intervene on our behalf.
I would also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
And thank you to the United States government and President Trump for your efforts to bring us home.
Jalen, did President Trump make them apologize by asking if they would say thank you to President Trump?
I think they would have anyway, but it's one of those cases where when you're doing something you're supposed to do as the leader of the free world, number 45, but yet you're willing to bust your arm to pat yourself on the back about something you did, they weren't going to get 10 years.
They weren't going to get 10 years. Raj Markazi has reported that there was something about 1 to 2 weeks was what was on the board.
And so there was a level of exaggeration there. There was a level of making sure that I get acknowledged. And again, his Twitter fingers are always active.
They are.
So they put themselves in that position.
Sure did.
The government and 45 did provide a level of assistance, so therefore
Facts
they
only.
deserve to be thanked.
Sure, I agree. So now the interesting part. They've been suspended indefinitely Jalen Rose, what do you think a fair, for lack of a better term, punishment for this do you think these 3 players should receive?
Not expelled from school, not kicked off the team, still have the ability to attend meetings, still have the ability to attend practice, still should be able to travel with the team.
Okay.
But they shouldn't play a game until conference starts.
When is that?
That's probably like halfway.
Ooh, okay.
And the reason why you do that is because you have to send a strong message to these young men that while we understand the human brain doesn't mature until you're 25, so therefore you're going to make decisions you look back on and say, what was I thinking? This was a grave error in judgment that put a lot of people in an awkward position, the university, the individuals. And it wasn't just like they did it one time. They allegedly stole from 3 stores.
They went on a spree.
Correct.
They went on a spree.
No question. So based on that, and also you have to set some sort of tone for people that make bad decisions in the future. You already put it down that this is the level of punishment that we've already established.
Personally, as the media guy, what I would do is I wouldn't leave it hanging. I would tell the world right now how long they were suspended just to dead the news story and keep it moving.
This is where they're playing it wrong. Internally, you say, this is how long it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Coach K did with Grayson Allen. A different scenario, obviously. He never gave an exact game. So whenever you bring him back, to some people it's going to be enough. To some people it's not going to be enough.
I can see that.
But because this is a bigger scenario, this is why I use that example. This is an apples and oranges comparison, is because now everybody's going to wonder and ask. I would have just flat out come out and said, this is how long it's going to be.
We can stop talking about it. Well, Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni has something to talk about. Here he is with reporters at Shoot Around on Wednesday talking about the return of Chris Paul.
What we've done up to now doesn't count. And we got a new team tomorrow because when you put that big of a rock into a pond, there's big waves, and we're going to figure out one, getting a chance to get in the game shape and playing well. 2, everybody's rotation is a little bit different, so we have to endure the next 2 or 3 games and try to smooth it out as we go.
Why is Coach D'Antoni acting like we have to endure the next 2 or 3 games? Like, why is he acting like this is such a problem? How would you integrate Chris Paul if you were him?
Chris Paul has done a really good job in his rehab doing individuals with the legend John Lucas, who's a part of the Houston Rockets staff. I talked about from the beginning when initially it was talked about it only being a couple of weeks, that it was going to be around a 6-week timeline for Chris Paul's return. The most important thing that he said is getting game shape, but also he's integrating somebody that's also used to having the ball. And so based on the way Harden has been playing with him out, kind of like he was the last couple of years, the adjustment for everybody beyond rotation, in particular a guy like Eric Gordon, who's in the starting lineup. I picked him to be 6th man of the year. He's been balling, averaging around 20 points. And so he's got to now become a substitute again, and it's going to be a domino effect for the roster. But in particular in basketball, when you could bring back somebody of Chris Paul's caliber, an unselfish player that can get buckets, you find a way to figure it out. And also you want to keep James Harden's usage down. That was the whole goal for bringing Chris Paul to town, besides the fact he's a great player.
Is the best use of Chris Paul is the second unit James Harden? Like, should they, of course they're going to play at the same time at the beginning of games, at the end of games, but if I was managing the team, the way I would integrate him is make him the second unit James Harden.
That's what they were doing anyway. In order to get both of those guys the opportunity to play make, you start them, you substitute one, and you lead the other one in with the second unit. That was going to take place anyway. But I'm just going to put something out there.
Uh-oh. I like it when you do this, Jalen. What do you got? What do you got?
I think this is Chris Paul's only season in Houston.
Yeah.
And I know I was one of the people that talked about LeBron James, if he left Cleveland, where would he end up? Is he going to end up in L.A. with Magic? And what's going to happen with Paul George? Hit the brakes.
Okay, sir.
LeBron ain't going to L.A. if he leave the Cavs. What? You know where he's going if he leaves? To New York City.
Oh, I was thinking Philly.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I pay attention to, and I make a couple of phone calls here and there, about why things happening. Am I sitting here saying that he's going to leave? I don't know. Guess what? He doesn't know.
Of course not.
But guess what he doesn't want to do? Leave and go to the Western Conference.
He's going to be in the Eastern Conference.
Where he's been dominant already. So if he does decide to leave, if he does decide to leave, just think about what's happened over the last week or so. He's in New York City filming himself on the subway.
Mm-hmm.
He's in New York City going back and forth with Enes Kanter.
Yep.
He's on wax talking about who they should have drafted.
He's getting booed by the fans. He's engaging. He's trolling.
He said, well, that was just really about Phil. And then he did the post the day after the game that had nothing to do with Phil. They called himself what?
The King of New York, and a gigantic New York Knicks logo with him standing on top of it.
You didn't see Cavs anywhere.
It didn't feel like he was being disrespectful to the franchise in the way that standing on the Dallas Cowboys star was for Terrell Owens. It felt like an homage almost.
It was, and he said that was his favorite playground. And so based on that, it allows me to think I'm